Hey everybody, it's Joan. Thank you for joining me for another Friday Prayer Focused. I just got in from the gym and I could use a shower is what I could use. But I wanted to share this story with you real quick. I'm on Facebook. I think a lot of you are too. And one of the fun things that I like about being on it is I can connect with people from, 50 years ago or whatever. One of the groups I'm in is my elementary school that I grew up in. Um, it was we called them grade schools back then. It was grades 1 through 8. Kindergarten hadn't been invented yet, so and I saw that my eighth grade teacher was going to turn 80, and they were asking for anybody that had him in their class to send him a card. So I did. I sent him a card, but I got to thinking about him, and he is my favorite teacher. His name is Mr. Reevy. I learned a really big lesson in my eighth grade class. He was officially a history teacher, but back then they taught a whole bunch of other things too. So we had two eighth grade classes, 8A and 8B, and I was in 8B. So one Monday morning, out of the blue, I went to go into the entrance that I usually use, which most of us use, the main entrance into the school, and there was a big sign on the door that said 8B had to go around to the back and use the back door to get in. I thought, well, that's kind of weird, but I thought, well, maybe they want to give us something, hand out something or whatever. But no, we just had to do that. And we wondered why, but we complied. And then later in the day, we saw that we had our classrooms were right next to each other, 8A and 8B, and then the bathrooms. But we saw a big sign on the bathrooms saying these were only for 8A. 8B had to go downstairs and use those bathrooms and that water fountain. So we're like, huh? I mean, we complied because, usually back then, the consequences would have been painful. So we complied, but as the week went on, this happened all week. As the week went on, we started going rogue. Some of the kids were using the bathroom anyway, and I did one time go in the main door. But don't tell anybody. But I mean, we were all kind of getting angry. And finally, on Friday, Mr. Reevy told us that this was a lesson on what it was like to be discriminated against for something you had no control over, like what class you're in, 8A or 8B, or the color of your skin, or how tall you were, or other things that people would use against us. And I got to tell you, that really stuck with me because I experienced it on a really low level, very low level scale. Now, I got to tell you, I don't think I turned out very far right or very far left, but I do try to look at situations from the other person's point of view. I mean, what a great teacher Mr. Reevy was. I will never forget that lesson. It's a great lesson. So what's the Bible say about that? Well, Mark 12, you probably already guessed this, and this is in a couple of the Gospels, but this one's from Mark. Mark 12, someone asked Jesus, what's the most important commandment? And he says, love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind and with all your strength. And the second is this, love your neighbor as yourself. There is no commandment greater than these. Now, did you know that was also in the Old Testament? I did not until I was looking this up for you. In Leviticus chapter 19, verse 18, it says, do not seek revenge or bear a grudge against one of your people, but love your neighbor as yourself. I am the Lord. So there's lessons on loving others as you love yourself. I do try to imagine sometimes when somebody does something and I start to get angry, I try to imagine what on earth could possibly be going on that would make them cut me off or push me out of the way or rush in front of me or just not see me. Like maybe there's an emergency of some kind and I just go with that. I mean, we can only guess, but remember that Jesus knows. He knows what's going on with them and he knows what's going on with us too. So I'm praying right now, pray with me. I'm praying right now that, Lord, that we would see others from another point of view other than the obvious one. Jesus, help us to see others from your point of view, with your eyes and your heart. And then may we learn to love others as ourselves. May we learn this life lesson that that this be a life lesson for ourselves and then for others. Amen. Isn't that a cool story? I love Mr. Reevy. He was also really good looking and still is. I saw him at 80. Saw these eighth grade girls. Anyway, next week we're having, is it next week? Pretty soon we're having VBS. It's on a part of Joseph's life. Joseph's story is filled with lessons. So we're just going to take a little bit of his life when he was in Egypt. And so pray for the VBS kids and the parents to be faithful in bringing them. And pray for the leaders and pray for some life lessons that will never leave the kids. Well, I think you guys are pretty awesome for joining me. And I thank you. I love you. And I'll see you next time I see you.